Heather, we ready? Good morning. We'll go ahead and call to order the meeting of the License and Variance Board. Today is Wednesday, September the 8th, 2021. It is 10 a.m. My name is Roy Acree. I'm the fire chief here in the city of Smyrna. To my left is Frank Martin, the director of public works. To his left is Richard Garland, our Parks and Recreations Director. Also present is our city clerk, Ms. Heather Pecan-Corn. First item on the agenda is item 2A, which is a privilege license agent change request, LIC 2021-09 beer and wine retail package, 2390 South Cobb Drive, Walgreens, DBA Walgreens number 05901, with Ornella Adelican as agent. Is the applicant present or a representative of the applicant? Okay. So, Ms. Corn, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the applicant has to be present for the agenda item. So I'll tell you what we'll do is I'll entertain a motion to move 2A to the bottom of the agenda to give the applicant more time to get here. Do we need to do that?
Can you do that by hand?
By hand, yes. So entertain a motion to move 2A to the bottom of the agenda.
Make a motion to move.
Second.
That motion has been seconded to move 2A to the end of the agenda. All those in favor, vote by hand, please. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Items B, 2B and 2C are both to be tabled. 2B is a variance request V21-053, increase the maximum impervious area from 35 to 50 for a swimming pool on 1355 Marston Street. This item is to be tabled till September 22nd License and Variance Board meeting. Do I hear a motion to table 2B?
So moved.
Motion to table. Do we have a second? Second. We have a motion to table 2A that's been seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. Motion to table passes unanimously. Same issue with the next item, 2C, public hearing variance request V21-069 for 863 Church Street to be tabled to September 22nd License Variance Board meeting. Do I hear a motion to table?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Item 2C has been properly seconded. The motion to table to September 22nd. All those in favor, we'll call for the vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is 2D, which is a public hearing. Variance request V21-094, allow a second accessory structure, land lot 561, 0.17 acre, 2630 Devon Court, Stephen Corey Henson. Mr. Stobbs, the background, please. Yeah, so this property on Devon Court has spawned 3 different variance requests. So yeah, if you would read into record just the whole project, and we'll vote on each one of them separately.
Joey Stobbs, Planner 2 with Community Development. The applicant is requesting 3 variances at 2630 Devon Court. They're proposing to build a swimming pool and a storage shed at the rear of the property. So to allow both, they need a variance for the second accessory structure. The 2 and 3 are, there's, on the final plat recorded shows a 20-foot development buffer and a 10-foot landscape buffer. Currently, there is no landscape buffer, so we're recommending approval if he restores a substantial amount of that buffer. He will encroach with the shed about 3 feet into that buffer. The 20-foot development buffer on the final plat was supposed to be revised to remove it after the final CO was issued in accordance with the conditions read into Mayor and Council's agenda. when it was rezoned. So that buffer really doesn't apply anymore, and so it's on the agenda because we originally thought it was. So we're recommending approval with two conditions. That approval of the subject property for the requested variance shall be conditioned upon substantial compliance with the site plan submitted with the variance application. And two, that the applicant will install a vegetative buffer along the rear property line.
All right, thank you, Joey. Just for the sake of the record, and just so I understand it, item F, which is the third and final, which deals with the encroachment of the 20-foot undisturbed buffer, it's my understanding that originally on the subdivision development plat was a construction buffer that was intended to be removed from the plat, but it's still physically on the plat, right? So that's why it's still an agenda item, even though the council voted those years ago to remove that buffer.
Yes, sir. I was reading the council meetings to understand why that buffer was there, and it on the condition where it's listed, it says it's to be removed when the final CO is issued.
Okay. Okay. Any questions for staff? Thank you. Is the applicant present, Steve and/or Corey Henson? Could you step to the podium, please, sir? So quick question, since you're the first one to the podium. Is the green light at the base of the microphone on?
It is.
Thank you, sir. If you could please state your name for the record.
Steve Henson.
Okay. So you heard Mr. Stobbs read into record kind of just a 60,000-foot overview. It's got the three different ones, the three different variance requests that we're going to hear. The first one is to allow for a second accessory structure, because of the nature of what you're doing. The
Sure.
second one is the 10-foot landscape buffer. And the final one is a confusing 20-foot undisturbed buffer that is still technically on the plat. It's the only reason it's here.
Okay.
Do you have any additional information to add on top of what Mr. Stobbs said?
Do not.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. If there's anybody here that'd like to speak either for or against item 2D, I would ask that you'd step forward at this time. Seeing no one, I'll entertain a motion for 2D.
Motion to approve V21-094, allow a second accessory structure, land lot 561.17 acres at 2630 Devon Court. Steve and Corey Henson applicants.
Second.
Got a motion to approve 2D with a proper second. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. That motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda, same subject property, item 2E, variance request V21-095 to allow encroachment into landscape, 10-foot landscape buffer, land lot 561, 2630 Devon Court, Stephen Corey Henson. Mr. Stobbs, do you have any additional information to add?
No, sir.
Could you, I'm sorry, on the last one, did you read into record the two conditions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions for staff on this one? Mr. Henson, there's one question I did forget to ask. If you could please step back to the podium. So you heard Mr. Stobbs read into record the two conditions associated with these. Are you familiar with, in agreement with those conditions?
I am.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any additional information to add for this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing. If there's anybody here that'd like to speak either for or against item 2E, I'd ask that you step forward at this time. Seeing no one, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve variance request V21-095, allow encroachment into 10-foot landscape buffer land lot 561, 0.17 acres at address 2630 Devon Court.
Second.
I have a motion to approve 2E with a proper second. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. That motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is 2F, same subject property, variance request V21-096 to allow encroachment into a 20-foot undisturbed buffer, land lot 561, 2630 Devon Court, Stephen Corey Henson as the applicant. Mr. Stobbs, any additional?
No, sir.
Mr. Henson, any additional information from you? Any questions for staff or the applicant? This is a public hearing. If there's anybody here who'd like to speak either for or against item 2F, I'd ask that you step forward at this time. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve V21-096, allow encroachment into 20-foot undisturbed buffer land lot 561 on .17 acres, 2630 Devon Court. Steve and Corey Henson applicants.
Second.
We have a motion approved, 2F, with proper second. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on the agenda is 2G, variance request V21-097 to allow a 6-foot wooden privacy fence on a corner lot, land lot 409.31 acres, 3840 Highview Terrace. Peter Golozewski, and I apologize if I've messed that up, but
You did great.
thank you, thank you. Proud of that. And I think that there are two variance requests for this same subject property. Mr. Stobbs, the background for both, please.
Yes, sir. G and H are related to each other. The subject property at 3840 Highview Terrace is a corner lot with frontage on Highview Drive and Highview Terrace. Applicant has constructed a 6-foot wooden privacy fence along Highview Drive. That's on the property line. According to our code, that fence should be set back 23 feet from the property line. The applicant contends that that would take away most of his rear yard. So they're asking to keep the fence where it is. The second variance is for a non-conforming rear deck. They have started to repair that deck. It's too close to the property line. So they need a side setback reduction from 10 feet to 3 feet to keep the deck where it is. It's been there for years and there's been no negative impacts, so we feel that replacement of the deck should not have any negative impact. We're recommending approval with 3 conditions. One, that it's subject to the site plan submitted with the variance application. 2, if the city of Smyrna must work within the right-of-way, property owner must be required to remove the fence at their own expense. And 3, due to a drainage easement on the rear property line, if maintenance is required to the drainage easement, it will be the property owner's expense to repair the fence.
Any questions for staff? So, Mr. Stobbs, just for the record, this is something that this board sees, at least on the first one, because it's a corner lot, then technically there are 2 front yards, regardless of, what the front side of the house may be facing, right? So
Correct.
So because it's a corner lot, that's the primary reason for the 6-foot wooden fence.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay, sir, if you could please step forward and state your name.
Peter Golozewski.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
So you heard Mr. Stobbs read into record kind of the summation of the total project for that's, got the 6-foot wooden fence for the corner lot and then the side setback because of the deck. Do you have any additional information to add about the overall project?
No, sir.
Okay. You also heard him read into record the 3 conditions. Are you familiar with and in agreement with those conditions?
100%.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a public hearing. If there's anybody here who'd like to speak either for or against item 2H, I would ask that you step forward at this time. Seeing no one, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve variance request V21-097. Allow 6-foot wooden privacy fence on a corner lot. Land lot, land lot 409, 0.31 acres at address 3840 Highview Terrace.
We have motion to approve. I'm going to correct the record. I think I called for 2H, but we're actually here in 2G right now. So we have a motion to approve 2G with a proper second. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. That motion passes unanimously. Now we can get to 2H, same subject property, variance request V21-098 to allow side setback reduction from 10 to 3 feet, land lot 409 at 3840 Highview Terrace. Mr. Stobbs, any additional information?
No, sir.
And to the applicant, do you have any additional information to add? The 3 conditions would apply to this one as well.
No, sir.
Okay, any questions for staff or the applicant? This is a public hearing. If there's anybody here that'd like to speak either for or against item 2H, I would ask that you'd step forward at this time. Seeing no one, I'll entertain a motion for 2H.
Motion to approve V21-098 allows side setback reduction from 10 feet to 3 feet, land lot 409 on .31 acres at 3840 Highview Terrace.
Second.
The motion approved 2H with a proper second. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. That motion passes unanimously. Before we get to the minutes, in the very beginning, we moved 2A to the bottom of the agenda, so I'll call back 2A. Privilege license agent change request, LIC 2021-09, beer and wine retail package, 2390 South Cobb Drive, Walgreen Company, DBA Walgreens number 05901, with Ornella Adelican as agent. Is the applicant present? Could you please step forward to the podium? I apologize if I mispronounced your last name, but if you would, for the record, please state your name.
Ornella Adelakon?
Okay. So you are going to be the registered agent for this particular Walgreens store, is that correct?
Correct.
Have you ever had this type of responsibility at any other stores?
No.
Okay. So could you kind of just describe to the board maybe some policies or practice that are in place at your store for any employee that, you know, that deals with the responsible sale of alcohol? Like, what measures do you guys have in place to ensure that it's done correctly?
We have e-learnings that they have to take to train them on how to properly ID customers when they come to buy these products. We have register, what do you call them? Prompts on the register that they have to scan their IDs or look at their IDs so that they don't, you know, forego it. And we have rules and regulations if they decide to break those policies that go in hand with them not following it.
Okay. So if I worked there and I was trying to ring up alcohol at a register, I would have to either scan a driver's license or enter the date of birth before I could move on with the
Yes.
sale?
And if you're underage, it won't let you do it.
Okay. Okay. And what is your role at this store?
I'm the store manager.
Okay. And does that mean, I would assume that means you're typically there a lot, right?
Understatement, yes.
Yeah. Okay, any questions for the applicant? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the record, let me get back to the document. We do have on record the required training certification for the applicant for responsible alcohol sale and service workshop. Also, the Smyrna Police Department did conduct a comprehensive background investigation, which is normal for this type of application, and there was nothing in that background that would preclude the issuance of this license. This one is not a public hearing, so I'm not going to call for input. Anybody got anything else on this? Okay, if there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion for 2A.
I'll make a motion to approve privilege license agent change request, LIC 2021-09, beer and wine retail package at 2390 South Cobb Drive Southeast, Walgreens, DBA Walgreens, with Ornella Alcalam as agent.
Second.
I have a motion to approve 2A with a proper second. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. That motion passes unanimously. Last item on the agenda is 3A, the approval of the August 25th, 2021 License Variance Board meeting minutes. We have a motion to approve those minutes.
So
please.
moved.
We have a motion approved that's seconded. If there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. We're moving faster than the computer does. So. That motion passes unanimously. That is it. I'll adjourn the meeting at 10:20. Everybody have a great day.